With the recent story arc in IDW Sonic being penned by Ian Flynn, a lot of people would, speculating probably why he decided to return after, we've had some new writers take a crack at writing some stories and story arcs. Stanley kind of filling in as the head writer. And I was watching a video where they were talking about Ian Flynn and how when Ian took a bit of a hiatus and Ivan, stepped in, that Ivan decided to do things that Ian wouldn't do. Mostly when it came to characters like Surge and Kit and Sonic. Because basically under Ian's pen, Surge and Kit would have been redeemed, or at least they would have gone with Sonic to potentially become redeemed and, get help and make friends and all that. And, that didn't happen, on that initial conclusion written by Ivan. But what was crazy about that video is they made the comparison that basically if, Ian was writing it at that time, that Ian would have done the opposite of what Ivan did, but Ivan did the opposite. She didn't say, hey, Sonic, you're going to be the hero, you're going to redeem him and all that. No. I was saying, Ivan, she did the opposite, like, hey, Sonic, you're not perfect in everything. That you do have faults and all that. And that you can't save everybody almost automatically. And again, the reason they brought that up is to compare the fact that, in their minds, Ian would have done that. He would have made Sonic, be the hero. He would have had Sonic, redeem them. So when you look at this, return for Ian in this Sonic writers inspired story in IDW Sonic, it really makes you wonder if maybe Ian saw what Ivan did. It's like, no, I'm not going to let you do that. That's not what Sonic is. You gotta, I'm assuming he probably got a little bit of a talking to by Sega saying, hey, what's this Ivan doing, not having Sonic, redeem these characters and such. So that's why I'm thinking maybe, just based off what I've heard some people say, especially in that one video, I'm thinking maybe that's why Ian came back on board. He's like, look, I got to take over. I've got to be the one that resumes the reins and everything and gets things under control and presents Sonic as he should be presented. And, you got to think, how does that make Ivan feel, or some of the other writers feel? Like, they come in, they get a shot to do a one-shot story like Spring Broken, maybe an arc here and there, or maybe a few issues, get the chance to write it the way they feel it needs to be written and present the characters the way they feel they need to be presented, only for the guy that's basically the head guy, basically part of the Sega consulting team, whatever they are, come back and say, yeah, well, guess what, I gotta, take your ideas and I gotta switch them around and everything and, present them in the way they should be presented. You have to wonder, again, how does that make Ivan or some of the other writers feel? I mean, because, again, you could see, according to some, the difference between Ivan and Ian and, Ian and the other writers. Like, they see these opportunities, like, yeah, you can't make the hero perfect all the time, no matter whether or not he's the, mascot IP of, of the company that's licensing the book. He's got to have his flaws. So my assumption is I think that's why Ian came back on board, is he probably got a talking to or something like that by Sega. They probably saw the issues and they're like, wasn't, maybe they asked the question, wasn't Sonic supposed to redeem these characters? And something like that. And again, I can only assume that's probably what happened. Can't say that it did, but it makes you really wonder the ironic timing of all of a sudden he's, coming back. Yeah, he's probably got a bit of a break, from consulting with the, for the story for Sonic games and all that. But you think being part of, that Sonic team and doing this and doing this thing and working on this comic and, working on that comic, for other properties, you think, he wouldn't have time, but yet here he is. So you have to wonder, You have to wonder what's going on, especially like from behind the scenes, because the one complaint people have always had about IDW Sonic after the Metal Virus arc is, it's been, I guess you could say, kind of handcuffed. It's kind of been like, handcuffed to the point that it can't really, get out of like first gear or anything, or second gear or whatever that's stuck in, because, the people behind it, Sega, will not let them. So you have to wonder. You have to wonder if that timing of Ian's return is kind of ironic, especially, upon hearing what these people had to say in their video. It's, again, just my opinion. Maybe Ian wanted to come back, kind of, just, I guess you could say resume his presentation or something like that, and maybe he might keep getting, Surge as at least anti-heroes or tweeners or whatever. But we'll see. We'll see. I mean, you look at that panel in the last issue where Surge is smiling and she's exclaiming, "We're heroes." That's an Ian. That's a trademark of Ian in the eyes of a lot of folks. If you don't know about his writing, so we'll see what happens. Maybe I'm making a bit of ado about nothing. But again, the timing is it's just weird. It's just ironically weird. That he's made his return with this issue, and he's just going and resuming what he used to do and presenting things in the way they should be presented. But we'll see. We'll see what happens. Again, maybe I'm wrong. Maybe he won't, change things, and he'll make it better. Who knows? But don't you think it's kind of weird that he comes back and all of a sudden we're starting to see little nuggets here and there of what he does? That's different from people like Ivan and others. I'm just saying. But let me know what your thoughts are, guys. Comment down below. Check out my Teespring store. Link is in the description. Like the video. Subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. Also, check out the links to my other places where you can find my content. And until then, guys, I will talk to y'all later. God bless. Take care. Have a good Sunday.